Well, all right. How's everybody doing? This is your first look at me since seeing Scream 5. I just saw it. Just got back home. Have not been home for 10 minutes, I don't think. And I just saw the movie. Just saw the movie. I am very pleased. I'm very pleased. The new cast I liked a lot. I liked a whole lot. And I love all of the nods to the first movie because I feel like that was missing from part 4. And I love part 4, but I feel like part 4 had a hard job where it was trying to be its own movie, but also still trying to pay homage to the original. And it was a balance I felt didn't quite work out, wasn't quite even. This one, I think it had that balance. This one, I think it balanced out really great. And I love the homage it pays to a lot of the part 1 cast. A whole lot of the part 1 cast, actually. A whole lot of the part 1 cast is very, very respectful towards that. And I love it because, you know, part 1, and they talk about scary movies. Part 2, they talk about sequels. Part 3, they talk about the trilogy. And this one, they use a term that I love and that I had kind of thought of, but never thought of the actual word. But a resequel, I think they said. It's like it borders the line of remake and sequel, and you bring in new characters and you bring in the old characters so that it feels, you know, it's still a continuation. Love that. Really love that. And I love the humor in this one too. Nothing felt forced. That's the really good thing about this one versus, like I said, in part 4, I felt like that's the only reason I predicted Jill was the killer, was she felt a bit forced. And before we knew she was the killer, her good felt a bit forced. Her I'm a survivor too felt a bit forced, you know? Or I can't believe this is happening to me felt very forced. There was none of that. There were things that maybe touched the line of it, but it didn't quite go there. Not the same way it did with Jill. I will say, without spoiling, who I thought was the killer, I was 100% right about. It's funny, I want to tell you guys about my opinions on killers, but I feel like that might be spoiler territory. It's funny, I like that I'm doing this right after seeing Scream 5, and I didn't post part 1 yet. And like I said, part 1 existed in the realm of 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago before I saw the movie. But in naming suspects, I was right about someone who I predicted would be the killer. And now that I'm doing it and I have not edited that and I have not posted that, it's going to get edited right out. You guys are going to have to watch to find out. But Gerald called it. I called it for exactly who the killer or killers were. And it's, you know what's funny? What I was actually really hoping towards, I was actually really hoping what they didn't do and what I actually would have appreciated a bit. A Scream movie has not had a reveal in the halfway point. I would have really liked that. You know, that's one thing that I think would have made it really interesting. Take the predictability, but also the weight off of the reveal being at the end or towards the end. You know, let's find out in the middle act. But in a way, it's well, it's funny. They kind of don't play about making everybody a suspect, and you know that works. That works too. The kills in this one are maybe the most graphic of the series. I mean, can we get a do-over of Scream 3 really? Because it's funny. It's like now with the 5 of them, Scream 3 just can't compare with the other four in terms of the scare factor, in terms of the kill factor. Every kill in that movie was basically one stab. And again, it was the time. It was people were fresh off of Columbine, and only a certain amount of blood and gore, whatever. But compared to this one, and part 4 was quite brutal too, as I'm sure everyone who knows it know too. But this was maybe the highest kill count of all 5 movies of the entire franchise, and this was definitely the most knifey, the most knife happy. Remember Mrs. Loomis in Scream 2 got a little knife happy with Randy, So I really appreciated that. I love the brutality. There again, with it being very knifey, there was a level of brutality in this one that didn't quite exist, and I would say it didn't quite exist since maybe the first one. Even then, my opinion still remains, there had not been a kill in the franchise as brutal as Casey Becker's. And I'm always going to be kind of hoping for that, because it's like, you did it once, try, you can do something that way again. They did something with the beginning attack that has never been done before, and I really, really appreciate that, because I've often wondered how these movies would have gone if the other 4 did this. So, interesting. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. Ooh, this would be a very good spoiler that I'm not going to give. But I will just say that Dewey, Sydney, and Gail were fantastic. They were really great. I really like how they've grown. What I was saying that I wanted for the franchise, they kind of delivered on. And what I was saying, what I was hoping the franchise would do going forward. So, you'll see. The reveal and the motive, without getting into spoiler territory. My goodness. How does the reveal of the killer or killers compare to the other 5? I mean, the other 4. Not as good as... So, okay, let me rank the other 4 for you. My favorite reveal, like I mentioned, was Scream 2. Specifically Mrs. Loomis, but I love Mickey too being in on it, because we all kind of forget about Mickey at the point of the reveal. But Mrs. Loomis is my favorite reveal of the Scream franchise ever. So that's Scream 2. Scream 2 is my favorite for the reveals. Second place would be Scream 3 with Roman, and basically the reveal that he orchestrated all of part 1 as well. Again, I know that that is a very unpopular opinion, but the thing again, like I said, I called Billy from the beginning. I called Billy from basically the first scene when I was 8 years old. I'm more impressed when I don't predict the killers. So that said, Scream 1 goes right in third place for the reveals. And I would put this one in fourth place. And I would say that it's rather tied with part 4. And it's rather tied in, I wish it was better motives. Without saying what it or they was. I wish it was a bit more rooted, because that's the thing with the original trilogy. The original trilogy, the motives were much more rooted. The motives were much more personal. For she wanted to be Sydney. She was jealous of Sydney. Yeah. Got the guy that she was dating to basically be her stew. So, I was not very impressed with that. And this, I appreciated this motive, but I wasn't very impressed with it. I just wasn't. But I did like who the killers were. And one reveal especially puts this in fourth place versus part 4. A reveal for sure, puts this in fourth place. A reveal from this movie definitely puts this movie in fourth place in terms of the reveals. And I adore how it was done. But again, I say it would have been a bit ballsier if it happened a bit earlier. I'm looking for a Scream movie where when it comes to the final act, they know who at least one of the killers are for sure. Whether they stumble upon them or whether it's a full-on reveal. I would love to see that. I would love to see that done. So, yeah. Where this movie ranks of the 4, I would put this one in third place over part 4 and over part 3. So my ranking as of right now, January 13th, 2022 at 11:37 p.m. First thoughts, the ranking for the Scream franchise that I, the Gerald Fordham, gives it is number 1, Scream 2. Number 2, Scream 1. Number 3, Scream 5, this brand new one. Number 4, Scream 4. And number 5, Scream 3. That is it. And I'm very excited for where this is going to go from here. Will we get some of the originals back again? I feel like this really did open the doors to more. I'm going to say one thing I will spoil is not everyone who got attacked dies. Not going to tell you who, but I feel like that can take the story further. Ooh, another fun spoiler without being a full-on spoiler. Someone who did that was fun. That was a fun moment. And my theater was lame. I wanted to clap. I went, whoa! I had a pretty big reaction for that. And like no one in my theater seemed to really care. I cared. I cared a lot. I was very impressed by this. And I really appreciated this person being in this movie. So I'm not going to tell you who. You'll find out. You will find out. You will find out. You know what, too? And I'm going to end on, I really like that there's an evolution between Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. All three of them. There are evolutions there that I think needed to happen. That I think really, really needed to happen. And they happened. And I'm happy they did. And I'm pleased. That's my overall thing for the movie. I am pleased. If I had to grade this right off the bat, right fresh out the theater, I would grade this a B+. A definite B+. My ratings for the other ones, I would give Scream 2 an A+, Scream an A+. Like I said, this one is a B+. Scream 4, I'll probably give a solid B, and Scream 3, I would give probably a B-. So that's how I'm grading the Scream movies. Yes. Whew! I am very impressed, and I look forward to seeing this again, because I look forward to looking for certain signs. It's funny, as I'm this far removed already, I'm already piecing together certain signs that I'm gonna have fun looking forward to next time. But it's an amazing thing, and I love that this is the start of my horror podcast. I'm gonna have a few podcasts, but this is my horror podcast, and I really love that the start of it is this franchise that has meant a lot to me for so much of my life. So very much of my life. Like I said, the first one came out when I was 6, but I probably saw it when I was 8, and I'm gonna be 32 in a couple of weeks. So I grew up with Scream. I grew up with Sydney. I grew up with Dewey. I grew up with Gail. I grew up with Randy, though he was only in 2 movies. Well, 3, 2.5. So yeah, good job. Good job. New creator, new writers and directors and producers of Scream. Good job. Keep it up. Keep it up. I hate that box office always has to do with whether or not a movie gets a sequel or not. It's like, tell your stories. Even if it doesn't have the major financing, find some kind of way to keep telling it. So, I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Please check out Scream 5. I recommend it. And I recommend seeing it in theaters. I think I'd recommend that for the whole franchise, really, because I feel like they're made for this. If you feel like doing it, see it in theaters. I don't know when it's going to be out to rent on video on demand, which is also why it's like seeing it in theaters. But I imagine it's not going to be a long time until then either, so I guess you can wait. But, it's fun now, and it's fun now when the whole world doesn't know certain things, when the whole world isn't privy to certain spoilers that they will be. Funny to think there's going to come a time when all these spoilers, and there's not too many, this isn't like chunk full of spoilers here in this movie, but just like the reveals of the other killers and all the other movies, there's going to come a time where talking about the killers from this movie or killer. So thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it, and I'll be right back.